line presents us with a strong sense of a voice. What I think we're often in fact saying is that the poem sounds a little like John Donne. We're employing a metaphor. The speaker of the poem, that's a metaphor, which describes not how poems are destined to sound, but how we have become accustomed to particular ways of organizing the medium of the English language into particular sonic patterns that to our ears sound like somebody speaking. There's nobody speaking, it's just little black marks on the page. Asking somebody to write a sentence with a strong voice in it is like asking a chef to make you a dinner that tastes really good. If the chef is successful, she will be thinking about particular ingredients, along with the precise manner in which she will manipulate them. You can't reach into the pantry for a cup of voice. The only thing in the pantry is diction and syntax. Now, I want to pause here for a moment before I go on to discuss how we construct the illusion of voice, given that poems don't automatically have it, to ask a larger question, one that pertains to this craft element I'm discussing today, but also pertains to all such discussions. And the question is this: what are we talking about when we talk about craft? Certainly we are not talking about methods. For to derive methods from particular works of art is to make the world of art a smaller place. It would be a disaster, having once been thrilled by the palpable illusion of voice in one poem or one story, to assume, therefore, that there's something wrong with poems or stories that do not foster the illusion of voice. Voice, image, tone, point of view, these things are not inevitably always present in a good English sentence. Diction and syntax are always present in a good English sentence. Alas, who's injured by my love? What merchant's ships have my sighs drowned? Who says my tears have overflowed this ground? When did my colds a forward spring remove? These characteristic shifts between sentences that alternately confirm or conflict with delineation, that is, sentences that seem to be sitting there nice and snug and whole on the line, and sentences in which you feel a great deal of tension as they're tumbling forward in that intricately wonderful pattern of metrical and rhyming effluvia. What was I saying? These characteristic shifts between sentences that alternately confirm or conflict with lineation, between sentences that shift abruptly from one mode or tense to another, from giving commands to asking questions, highlight the illusion of spokenness, the sense of a dramatic voice, by drawing our attention to the language as such, as if the utterance were not premeditated, but were happening in the time it takes to read it, a performance of an event, rather than a recounting of an event. Donne's lyrics are characteristically invested in argument. You often feel like he's got you by the throat and he's trying to convince you of something, and you're being completely mastered and it feels great. But if the unpredictable conclusions of Donne's poems seem inevitable, it's not simply because of the argument. In fact, if you pay attention to the logic of the argument, it's usually almost nothing. They feel inevitable because we're also distracted from the argument by the sheer bravura of the syntactical performance.